Okay, now I'm back online, I think. So in theory, if you like stand several screens away and chuck him, you can remote detonate the cherry bombs and not instantly die. I think. This won't work though. This is just this won't work, right? Okay, yeah. But yeah, you basically have to just come here with your vitamin gun and shoot all these away at the ground, and it's kind of a pain. It's very I want to be the guy-esque. And then there's a few more screens of just like, you know, a nasty platform, and then there's like, oh no, the blob is trapped in a cage, but oh no, I can just turn him into a jack and he'll knock a shelf over and I win. But yeah, the weird Wii one is like very cutesy and very friendly and like not just pure sadism and worth checking out. But yeah, the original game, oof. And then I have one more game in this trilogy of like stuff wound up getting ported from like the Western PC scene to the NES that is you know, okay. This is at least like filtered through Data East apparently, and given some cutesy visuals. I'll probably pick a color. There's so many choices too. There we go. I have no password. A very cutesy presentation for this. So this is Boulder Dash, where you can walk around in all four directions, just kind of infinitely. But rocks and also these diamonds that you're collecting follow some physics. Working out what those physics are is a very important thing. Where basically they got their like angle of repose or whatever it's called of 45 degrees, and if two of them are stacked on top of each other and there is a place for the top one to fall, they will do so. If things fall on you, you die. It is perfectly safe to bounce things in your head indefinitely. It's just that when they're actually moving downward, they will kill you. And they will do cool little what's the word? Like hourglass formations, give them the chance. Later there are also enemies. Oh, and you can shove them if you hold towards them from the side for a bit. I often just like move fast enough that things don't matter too. The difficulty ramps up kind of fast though. And I seem to recall the time limit in some of those is very real. So there's one of said enemies. I'm going to leave it in there because I don't want to deal with it, but they tend to have like pretty simple patterns of like hugging the wall. Oh, and if you kill enemies by dropping boulders on them, they turn into like a big cluster of 9 diamonds, I think, which you need to do later to meet your quota. But the early levels are pretty chill, because this game does understand what a difficulty curve is. Which I suppose means I should try to just like rush through the early levels, honestly. Here again, like you do have to learn the physics engine to proceed. Or at least to get those diamonds. Where's the exit? Can I, like... I could have sworn that I could, pause it and pan the camera around. That would be a really nice feature, if you could. Exit tile, where'd you go? Oh, there it is. Like, where I started. This is also a game that I'm not sure I ever actually finished this. Which is weird, because I own it and all. But the thing is, someone borrowed this and did not give it back for years. When it was fairly new to me. Here's number 2. I don't need to get every diamond. Yet. They of course also follow the physics model. I don't think I need to get every diamond yet. Yeah, that's enough. Take a little happy end of level dance. Music's nice too. Okay, so now here, yeah, it's time to actually start killing things. It's a bit dig-dug about it. Ta-da. Just do that and you're fine. As long as you're, you know, careful about it. So I would say this is actually a good game that's, like, fairly overlooked. Although it does get, like, rough later on. When enemies are less contained and quotas are less, reasonable. And timers are too. Or all members are from playing as a very small child and it should not be trusted. Okay, now if I recall, I can kind of just... Nope. Okay. Not quite. But I can do something like that. Roughly. Might be safer if I just do one row at a time, actually. Also if I, like... I don't know. Open a bigger chunk. Or I, like... Okay, now I should be safe. I think I've got them all spinning around stuff that's not in my immediate, like, area. You secondary can have fun. And it's a little weird this has lives and also has passwords. Boulders are now mammoths, by the way. Living mammoths, for some reason. Sure, why not? Oh, okay. If you contact them, you take damage. Whether or not they actually, like, run into you. That's good to know. It's just, like, being adjacent is the trigger. So, what was the trick here? Just, like... Yeah, it works. Enough and fast enough, they will be behind me, and I will... There's a little stickiness to the controls sometimes. I've hit my quota. Yes, yes. So yeah, like, again, I didn't have time with this to get good at it before somebody wanted to borrow it, and then just, like, kind of lost it, and then, like, years later, it turned up. What is going woo 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 at me? That's very stressful. Stop. Oh. Oh, right. That would be what's going woo 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 at me. The uncontained amoebas that are going to slowly fill the entire level. That's a thing that this game has. That's, you know... If you, like, completely box them in so they can't spread anymore, they will, die and you get a bunch of diamonds from them. Which is actually not that hard to pull off. You just have to, like, you know... Oops, I want that to go the other way. It's a problem. Do I have more? You. Please get there in time. Okay, I didn't seal off this side, though. Fortunately, like, the natural stacking... somewhat helps. Okay, I did not establish containment quick enough, I don't think. Unless I get... Okay, really desperate. But yeah, you can, like, block in the whole thing, then, like, all that explodes and you get a big pile of diamonds. It's, you know... I meant to turn faster. That was my one problem with this game as a child, is, like... Your character sometimes just kind of, like, hitches for just a fraction of a second and or goes too far. It's like it's not quite precise enough controls. But anyway, yeah. It gets interesting after a while. It does ratchet up the difficulty fairly quickly once it starts, but it's interesting. There's some, like, big old hourglass levels later on where you have to, like, pick out the diamonds from the rocks while the whole thing is, like, cascading downward, and that amoeba thing. Yeah. This is worth revisiting, actually. If you ever have the chance. And I kind of wish I had, like, the concentrated time to, like, really master it as a child, but I did not. Let's see, what next? What next? Time gets a little hazy here, because there's a lot of stuff that, like, well, I did play that, and then years later I picked it up used. But trying to play these, like, when I actually came into ownership of them is the trick here. Oh, well, I think... Yeah, I think around here is when I remembered some games that I had played at other people's homes and made a point of trying to find them used or possibly still on sale and make my first couple informed decisions about what to play. I am not going to spend a lot of time on this because I don't know if I have them archived, but when I first started streaming, I was, like, really into the randomizer. And, I assume you've seen me play Zelda. How many layers do I get here, anyway? So playing not randomized Zelda feels weird to me at this point in time, but alright, you kind of have to do that. Oh no, you have to do that. That's right, because you, like, rename all your saves first, and then pick one to play. So I used to wonder, hey, can you like get enough money just ducking into other caves to just like skip ever getting this sword? And you absolutely can, and I started doing that after a while. But I really like the original Zelda. This is a game that I again first played while like visiting my father's girlfriend's creepy family. None of them were into it, but they had like a couple of older relatives who would like visit and had it, and it was like this was a game like pre-internet that was really something kind of special, just because there's a lot of like weird stuff to figure out in Zelda, and you know, when you can't just look it up somewhere. There was a lot of like info sharing when people were playing it. It's like, oh, did you try this here? It's like, oh no, I didn't. Did you try this here? No, I didn't. But because I don't want to spend too much time, let me just go to a dungeon. I was gonna say the first dungeon, which I mean, it is level 1, but like. The original Zelda is an incredibly open game. There are very few places you can't just like go right to from the start of the game. And like the stuff you need to go to them is not like, oh, let me get the puzzle item out of this dungeon. It's just like, let me save enough money to buy a candle and start burning bushes. Also, a little trick I'm going to show off because I can. I'm sure there's not a lot of Zelda trivia I can explain, but this was, of course, in Japan, one of the like real killer disc system games, which is partially why it is like screen is slowly sliding because it's like easier to load stuff that way. And kind of famously, when it was ported to just a cart, they made no effort at all to like re-optimize it. So there would be a load screen right there, and it is like it is a mess code-wise. Anyway, that was locked before, but that one door like is only locked when you first come in here. So, hey, free key. Which is another thing, like, later sequels would not do. But in the original Zelda, like, a key is just a key. You can get it in the dungeon that, you know, it's meant for, or you can not. There are doors that are locked that you can just kind of, like, circle around and not have to deal with. You can very easily end up, like, you know, 8 keys over par and just skip finding them later dungeons. And I kind of like that about it. Especially because, like, again, like, there are a lot of the randomizers these days, and I generally enjoy the trend, but, like, this game right here has my absolute favorite of them, because, like, you get the thrill of finding things in different places, but, like, you're rarely blocked off before finding those things. And, the main one for it has a mode to, like, mix locations from first to second quest, and so you don't even know, like, where on the overworld you're exploring properly. And it's, like, it's cool stuff. But I should really be talking... Oh, did I get killed by a gel? Seriously. I am not going to, like, insist on retrying to keep my life count at 0. So I'm just kind of messing around tonight. But yeah, so, again, the point of this is I'm telling, like, childhood stories while I'm playing these. So yeah, Zelda first encountered over at that family's house while older relatives were like just stuck babysitting and playing it. And they like hadn't finished it, and I was like new to it, so it was kind of a fun little like, oh, what if you do this here sort of experience, which is neat. And yeah, like again, when I first started streaming too, I was just like replaying this with the randomizer like crazy. It's a game that's really aged wonderfully, I find, personally. Because like later Zeldas, you know, combat is just kind of like a speed bump. And the puzzle is like, once you know the answers, you know the answers. But like, fighting stuff in Zelda 1 is kind of harrowing. Especially when you get to like Wizrobes and Dark Nuts, and like, you gotta learn like the cool secret techniques. Like I can just do this and hit something that's facing towards me because of weird coding issues. But yeah, like, I don't know why everybody is just all into the SNES one, which is fine, but like, I don't know. I remember it being really cool when I first played it, and afterwards kind of like whatever. But this like, I can, like, the whole, you know, if you're stuck on a desert island with just however many games, like, this is probably one of them for me. Another, like, little Zelda tidbit you might not know. Anytime there are pushable bricks, they are always on the center column in a dungeon. With that exception. Oh, right. Bow, arrow sold separately. It's actually kind of funny that, like, I've actually played this randomized enough that, like, how does the vanilla first supposed to go again? These guys never really, like, had a presence in any of the sequels, which is weird. Where's my mustachioed cat people with boomerangs? And I love that you can, like, hear the final boss before you... Well, not the final boss, but the boss of the dungeon before you are actually in the room. He's got, like, really horrific in some of the later sequels, too. Also, as good as the sound design is here... arrows cost money to fire, but you still need to actually find the item of the arrow, and then later the silver arrow. I think, anyway, unless I just, like, hit the wrong button trying to select it. Let me double check. Yeah, I just can't select it until I find an arrow. Which is weird. And, like, getting normal arrows, I think, is just, like, buy them in a store, too, so it's just strange. But yeah, so other little Zelda tidbits. The original Japanese version, like, has really different sound design. Like, there's a lot of, like, just audio stuff that's, like, so unfamiliar if you ever have a chance to play it, which, you know, either emulate it or get the whole NES remix thing and finish it, and you can just switch to the Japanese versions of them. There's really, like, the significant change that Polo's voices, the little, like, bouncy rabbit things. I don't have the torch yet. In the US release, you kill them with arrows, and they just, like, die instantly. In the Japanese version, though, you kill them by screaming into the microphone of the second controller, which is... That's a difference. It makes you think about a lot of things. Yeah, going up here with the raft, using the raft in one other place, and one dungeon requiring you to have the ladder to cross the little river to get through it are the only actual, like, hard physical barriers to keep you just going everywhere at the start of the game, which I really like. It's also kind of weird going back to this and having, like, Zoras be an enemy and not, like, bangable fish people. Right. There's a lot of old ladies just stare at you until you have a prescription for your drugs. It was kind of like a weird period of the series when, like, moblins weren't a thing. These clocks never came back. But yeah, really interesting game when it first came out. Just like, here's this big explorable world. It's got weird little secrets in it. It's got all these cool little tools to find. You get these nice little dungeons breaking things up. It's just a real classic overall. Also, like, a game that when getting into game design and, like, thinking about things more, it's interesting how there's, like, this little, like, half grid that you're stuck on. You don't really tend to notice it, but, yeah, it's a thing. And if you kind of, look at the later games, like A Link to the Past made you slide onto, like, the proper grid if you're, like, slightly off and start walking in a cardinal direction, which makes it easier to just, like, cleanly hit doors consistently. Anyway, yeah, I literally could and have, like, sit here all day playing the original Zelda, and I am not gonna do that. But, okay, I will play some Dark Knights, because they're neat. And they started a, like, proud tradition of having, like, the big tough things you gotta, like, have little duels with that became way more of a thing later in the series. I always liked these. Because if you're just, like, rushing through, they're never an issue, but, like, if you hesitate, then it's like, oh no, now I'm being by the thing. Get that with Boomerang, but at least I can. I think I was, like, talking to somebody about before, just earlier this week, just at random. Someone saying, why is it like the Boomerang is the thing that can pick stuff up in Zelda? And it's not. You can use arrows, you can use your sword. You can't use your sword beam. But otherwise, like, yeah, you can use the wand. They kind of just made it so that, like, you know, weapons in general can collect things, because it's very easy for things to get stuck in walls when they drop off enemies, and that's just frustrating. It's most memorable with Boomerang because, like, Boomerang doesn't have ammo, and it can be tossed at these nice little diagonals and snag it on the rebound for you. But if I could have found a shop and gotten some arrows, I'd show off the house. No, there's a lot of just like collect stuff along the way. Oh, that slowdown. Feels good. Anyway, yeah. That's Zelda. It's really just a great game. And I picked that up around the same time as finally tracking down the other, like, big first-party Nintendo thing of note. Which I'm also not going to spend a lot of time with because I have definitely streamed this one. Yeah. It's not intuitive, but you will notice it if you are, like, doing the Paul's Vice thing and just happen to fire to a mechanism. Oh, hey, that just collected all the rupees. Granted, I spit one to fire it, so it's, like, not an efficient thing to do, but you can. Sorry about killing the music when I'm trying to move this window around. Good old Metroid. Okay, I don't think I've technically streamed Metroid, but I did have that one day when I was, or a couple days, when I was streaming just ROM hacks of Metroid, and like that Junkoid and its sequel, both for different reasons, are very, very, very good and worth checking out. The original game is one that I still really enjoy. It's not without its flaws, though. Or not even flaws, but like stuff that like doesn't gel with modern tastes. Like how you get this by, well, first you have to go to the left and not the right, and then you gotta like climb over this thing. Oh, I can't get back over that from this side, so I gotta use my new toy. Like, that's just good design work. I think everybody agrees that like starting with 30 HP every time you die or load a game is BS, and that should just be topped off. And like there are rooms that have like this, here's a little door with an enemy spawner behind it, so you can kind of do that, but like, that is a thing I would change. Alright, bombs are a separate item. So I can't do anything with those. Like again, these first few rooms of Metroid are very, very good examples of like how people do the whole Metroidvania sort of design these days. Also, the fact that like when you stop moving, your auto fire stops. That's just one of those little things that like make these do way more damage than they would otherwise. But yeah, again, like the other couple rooms, it's like, here's a little tunnel that you can't do anything with, but it's like distinct. And then, oh, you get your bombs. It's like, oh, maybe I should check those out. Check out that little tunnel with those. That sort of thing's really good. But then most of the game is, here are some literally copy-pasted identical shafts and hallways to get you really disoriented and lost. And like, I'm not gonna say it's bad design. It's interesting and it's kind of novel. Even like later Metroid games would never revisit that. But it's not what Super Metroid does, and people kind of want everything that is at all like Super Metroid to just be Super Metroid, you know? Like, people do not want variety like that. Just give me this one game that I like again. It's like, it's still there, you can just play it again. You don't have to do, like, zero mission and turn the first game into the third game. But we did. Yeah, these little, like, shafts you spend like so much of the game in are odd. Like, you generally want to kill everything because you're probably not at full HP and need to, like, top off. But then if you are at full HP and you're going down, well, then you just, like, you know, whatever, I'll just fall through the whole thing. But if you're going up, it's like, I gotta, like, still kill these because it's kind of a pain to dodge around them. So, like, slow down anything. And again, I think it's a question of, like, partially that it was originally a disk system game that had more memory to work with and would load that whole shaft at once instead of having to, like, kind of race to get it in there. But yeah, I think, like, the amount of stuff this game got right out of the box is really kind of fascinating. And it's really interesting how much Samus's design changed. Even in Metroid 2, which, like, was in black and white, there's a lot more, like, armor detailing instead of this weird, like, scrawny-legged, no-detailed suit, you know? Just a big orange torso. I got caught under that weird. There we go. And I guess, like, you can determine that Samus is in fact a girl the whole time by virtue of, like, bothering to render a butt. But it was surprising at the time nonetheless. To the point that, in fact, as a child, knowing the whole Justin Bailey code, I thought there was just, like, a plus game where you play as, like, a different character. Because I, like, saw that way before actually finishing the game. Anyway, let's just go down an elevator because elevators are fun. Again, I did a whole stream of, like, nothing but playing Metroid games not that long ago. So I'm not gonna push too far into this one. But, like, it's a little rough revisiting, but it's a solid game. And I also remember, like, getting to know someone as a child because they were trying to use, I think, the Justin Bailey password and didn't get, like, well, it's just, you know, 12 characters out of 24. What do you do with the other ones? And, like, you can do a lot of things with the other ones. It doesn't really matter. It turns out. But, like, I had to, like, go over there for, like, game knowledge sharing to show this kid how to put that password in for some reason. So, someone that I, like, otherwise kind of didn't know, too, so that was kind of weird.